The seventh discovery of America. When Columbus landed in 1492, the Americas had been settled for tens of thousands of years. He wasn't the first person to discover the continent. Instead, his discovery was the last of many discoveries. In all, people found the Americas at least 7 different times. For at least 6 of those, it wasn't so new after all. The discoverers came by sea and by land, bringing new genes, new languages, new technologies. Some stayed, explored, and built empires. Others went home and left few hints they'd ever been there. From last to first, here's the story of how we discovered the Americas. Number 7, Christopher Columbus, AD 1492. In 1492, Europeans could reach Asia by the Silk Road, or by sailing the Cape route around the southern tip of Africa. Sailing west from Europe was thought to be impossible. The ancient Greeks had accurately calculated that the circumference of the Earth was 40,000 kilometers, which put Asia far to the west. But Columbus botched his calculations. An error in unit conversion gave him a circumference of just 30,000 kilometers. This mistake, with other assumptions born of wishful thinking, gave a distance of just 4,500 kilometers from Europe to Japan. The actual distance is almost 20,000 kilometers, so Columbus's ships set sail without enough supplies to reach Asia. Fortunately for him, he hit the Americas. Columbus, thinking he'd found the East Indies, called its people Indios, or Indians. He ultimately died without realizing his mistake. It was the navigator Amerigo Vespucci who realized Columbus had found an unknown land, and in 1507 the name America was applied in Vespucci's honor. Number 6. Polynesians, AD 1200. Around 2500 BC, a seafaring people sailed from Taiwan to find new lands. They sailed south through the Philippines, east through Melanesia, then out into the vast South Pacific. These people, the Polynesians, were master navigators, reading wind, waves, and stars to cross thousands of kilometers of open ocean. Using huge double canoes, the Polynesians settled Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, and the Cook Islands. Some went south to New Zealand, becoming the Maori. Others went east to Tahiti, Hawaii, Easter Island, and the Marquesas. From here, they at last hit South America. Then, having explored most of the Pacific, they gave up exploration and forgot South America entirely. But evidence of this remarkable voyage remained. The South Americans acquired chickens from Polynesians, while the Polynesians may have picked up South American sweet potatoes. And they shared more than food. Eastern Polynesians have Native American DNA. Polynesians didn't just meet Native Americans, they married them. Number 5, Norse, AD 1021. According to Viking sagas, around AD 980, Eric the Red, fierce Viking and cunning salesman, named a vast, icy wasteland Greenland to entice people to move there. Then, in AD 986, a boat from Greenland spotted the coast of Canada. Around AD 1021, Eric's son Leif established a settlement in Newfoundland. The Vikings struggled with the harsh climate, before war with Native Americans ultimately forced them back to Greenland. These stories were long dismissed as myths until 1960, when archaeologists dug up the remains of Viking settlements in Newfoundland. Inuit, AD 900. Just before the Vikings, the Inuit people traveled from Siberia to Alaska in skin boats. Hunting whales and seals, living in sod huts and igloos, they were well adapted to the cold Arctic Ocean and skirted its shores all the way to Greenland. Curiously, their DNA is closest to native Alaskans, implying their ancestors colonized Asia from Alaska, then went back to discover the Americas again. Around 2000 to 2500 BC, the Inuit, descendants of an earlier migration of speakers of the Eskimo Aleut languages, made their way across the Bering Sea from present-day Russia to Alaska. These languages are distinct from other Native American languages and might even be distantly related to Uralic languages such as Finnish and Hungarian. DNA evidence supports that the Eskimo Aleut was a distinct migration, partly displacing and mixing with earlier migrants, the Nadine people. Between 3000 and 8000 BC, another group, the Nadene, crossed the Bering Sea to Alaska. While some studies suggest they settled the Americas as long as 10,000 years ago, DNA from their bones links them not to the modern people in the Eskimo Aleut group, but to Native Americans speaking the Na-Dene language family. This includes the Navajo, Diné, Tlingit, and Apache people. The Na-Dene languages are closest to languages spoken in Siberia, suggesting again that they represent a distinct migration. Almost all Native American tribes, Sioux, Comanche, Iroquois, Cherokee, Aztec, Maya, Quechua, Yanomami, and dozens of others speak languages that evolved from a common ancestor tongue, suggesting a single tribe entered the Americas long ago. Their descendants' low genetic diversity suggests this founding tribe was small, maybe less than 80 people. Before the last ice age ended 11,700 years ago, the Bering Land Bridge appeared due to lower sea levels, allowing America's first people to walk from Russia to Alaska. The timing of their migration is controversial, with archaeological finds across the Americas suggesting humans arrived much earlier than previously thought. Remarkably, humans may have settled the Americas before Western Europe, navigating harsh Arctic conditions in Alaska, potentially less daunting than facing hostile Neanderthals in Europe. The year 1492 marked the last discovery of the Americas. Following the voyages of Columbus, Magellan, and Cook, the scattered descendants of humanity's diaspora were finally reunited. Aside from a few uncontacted tribes, everywhere was known to everyone, making further discovery impossible. However, the story of the Americas settlement is still being written. Our understanding is evolving. The Eskimo Aleut may have been two different migrations, not one. Genes hint at the possibility of other early founding populations. And considering the scant evidence left by the Polynesians and Norse, it's conceivable there were other migrations, ones of which we have little evidence. There's so much we don't know. No one can discover the Americas anymore, but there's a lot left to discover about their discovery.